Imagine standing on top of a dormant supervolcano, watching boiling water shoot 150 feet into the air, while a herd of wild bison grazes just a few hundred yards away. It sounds like another planet, but it's right here in the United States. Welcome back to World Tour with Dee. Today we are taking a deep dive into America's very first national park, Yellowstone. With over 2.2 million acres of hydrothermal wonders, alpine rivers, and dense forests, Yellowstone is massive. It's larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined. Trying to see it all in one trip can feel completely overwhelming. But don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we are going to cover the mind-bending geography of the park, a little bit of its wild history, some fun facts you definitely didn't know, and most importantly, the ultimate itinerary of what you actually need to see. Whether you are planning your first trip or you just want to experience the magic from your couch, grab a coffee, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and let's get into it. Check out the description below for links of Yellowstone essentials, such as binoculars, GoPros, hiking clothes, travel hack items, and more we recommend. Part 1. The geography and the supervolcano. To understand why Yellowstone looks like another planet, we have to look miles underground. Yellowstone isn't just a park with a volcano in it, the park is the volcano. It sits directly on top of a geological phenomenon called a mantle plume, or a hot spot. Imagine a blowtorch of incredibly hot magma rising up from deep within the Earth's mantle. Now, the hot spot itself is stationary, but the North American tectonic plate is slowly drifting southwest over it. If you look at a map of Idaho's Snake River Plain, you can actually see a trail of ancient, extinct craters curving right up to Yellowstone, a 16-million-year-old footprint of the continent dragging across this underground blowtorch. Right now, that hotspot is positioned squarely under Yellowstone. Over the last 2 million years, this supervolcano has had 3 massive world-altering eruptions. The last one happened about 640,000 years ago. It was so violent that it blew up the roof off the magma chamber. The Earth collapsed in on itself, creating a massive crater called a caldera, measuring roughly 30 by 45 miles across. When you drive through the center of the park today, you are literally driving inside the collapsed bowl of an active supervolcano, and it is very much alive. The ground inside the caldera actually breathes, inflating and deflating inches every year depending on the pressure of the magma and fluids underneath. Because the Earth's crust here is so thin, the magma chamber is only about 3 to 8 miles below your feet. That intense heat easily escapes to the surface. This is what drives Yellowstone's famous hydrothermal system. Here is how it works. Rain and melting snow seep down through miles of porous rock. It gets superheated by the magma chamber beneath, but the immense pressure keeps it from boiling. As it expands, it is forced back up to the surface. Depending on how that water makes its way back up, it creates one of 4 distinct hydrothermal features. First, we have geysers, like Old Faithful. These form when the underground plumbing system has constrictions or choke points. The heat and pressure build up behind these constrictions until the water flashes into steam, blasting everything above it out of the ground. Over centuries, these systems are reinforced by a mineral called geyserite, which lines the tubes with a pressure-proof seal. Second are the hot springs, like the Grand Prismatic. These have open, unconstricted plumbing. The superheated water rises, cools at the surface, and sinks back down in a continuous convection current. Third are fumaroles, or steam vents. Because Yellowstone sits on a high elevation plateau averaging 8,000 feet above sea level, the boiling point of water is lower here. In fumaroles, the water boils away completely underground, so only a roaring vent of steam reaches the surface. And finally, the mud pots. These are my personal favorite because of the science behind them. These are acidic hot springs with very little water. Hydrogen sulfide gas rises from deep underground and is eaten by specialized microorganisms. These microbes excrete sulfuric acid, which literally melts the surrounding rock into a boiling, bubbling clay that smells strongly of rotten eggs. Between the high alpine plateau, the continental divide splitting the water flow, and the volcanic fire churning beneath it, the geography of Yellowstone is one of the most violent and dynamic landscapes on Earth. Part 2. A brief and wild history. Because this land is so volatile, it's shaped human history here in fascinating ways. Long before Yellowstone was a tourist destination, it was a vital resource for indigenous peoples. Human presence here dates back over 11,000 years. Tribes like the Shoshone, Bannock, Blackfeet, and Crow didn't just pass through, they deeply utilized this land. While some early European historians claim Native Americans were afraid of the geysers, that is a complete myth. They used the hot springs for medicinal, ceremonial, and practical purposes. One of the most important sites in the park was Obsidian Cliff. The volcanic glass found here was so highly prized for making razor-sharp tools and weapons that it became a major currency in ancient trade networks. Yellowstone obsidian has been discovered in ancient burial mounds all the way in the Ohio River Valley, showing that how far this park's resources traveled long before European contact. There was also a specific band of the Shoshone known as the Tukadika, or sheep eaters, who lived year-round in the park's high elevations, thriving in a harsh environment that would later terrify early explorers. Speaking of explorers, the first person of European descent known to see this area was a mountain man named John Coulter. He had been a member of the Lewis and Clark expedition, but left to trap beaver. In the winter of 1807, he journeyed through the Yellowstone region. When he returned to civilization and tried to describe boiling rivers, shooting water, and steaming mud, people thought he was out of his mind. They jokingly dubbed the mythical place Coulter's Hell. Decades later, another famous mountain man, Jim Bridger, explored the area. Bridger was known for his tall tales. So when he told people about a place where they were petrified trees with petrified birds singing petrified songs, the public completely dismissed the entire region as a frontier myth. It wasn't until 1870 that the rumors were finally taken seriously. A group called the Washburn Expedition went in to systematically map the area. They were the ones who found the Upper Geyser Basin and officially named it Old Faithful. But the real turning point was the Hayden Expedition of 1871. This was a government-funded survey, and Dr. Ferdinand Hayden did something brilliant. He brought along a painter named Thomas Moran and a photographer named William Henry Jackson. When Hayden returned to Washington, D.C., he didn't just bring journals. He brought Jackson's stunning black and white photographs and Moran's massive, vibrant watercolor paintings. Congress was stunned. They suddenly realized this wasn't a myth, and it was too magnificent to be sold to private developers. Interestingly, the Northern Pacific Railroad heavily lobbied Congress to protect the land, knowing that a natural wonderland would guarantee a boom in train ticket sales. On March 1st, 1872, President Grant signed the Yellowstone National Park Protection Act, officially establishing the world's first national park. But the story doesn't end there. For the first few decades, the park was a disaster. Congress created the park, but provided almost no money to protect it. Poachers slaughtered the wildlife, tourists chipped away the geysers for souvenirs, and developers tried to build monopolies around the best sites. The government realized they were losing the park, so in 1886, they called in the U.S. Army. the cavalry rode into Yellowstone, built Fort Yellowstone up at Mammoth Hot Springs, and took over management of the park. They essentially invented the concept of the park ranger. For 30 years, soldiers patrolled the backcountry, fought off poachers, and protected the geysers until the National Park Service was finally created in 1916. Part 3. Rapid Fire Fun Facts. Fun fact number 1. Yellowstone experiences between 1,000 and 3,000 earthquakes a year. Most are so small you can't feel them, but they are consistently reshaping the underground plumbing of the geysers. Fact 2. The park's bison herd is the oldest and largest public bison herd in the United States. They have lived continuously in this area since prehistoric times. Fact 3. Wood frogs in Yellowstone can survive the freezing winters by literally freezing solid. Their hearts stop beating and they thaw out in the spring. Fact number 4. The bright, colorful bacteria that live in Yellowstone's hot springs actually revolutionized modern medicine. A specific heat-loving microbe discovered in the park in the 1960s contains an enzyme that makes rapid DNA replication possible. That means a tiny piece of Yellowstone is the key ingredient used in PCR testing, which is used for everything from solving forensic crime scenes to running COVID-19 tests. Fact number 5. In the late 1800s, it was a massive tourist fad to stand on the shore of Yellowstone Lake, catch a cutthroat trout, and without even taking it off the hook, swing your fishing pole over to dip the live fish directly into a boiling hot spring to cook it on the spot. It was done at a famous thermal feature called the fishing cone, though trying to boil a fish in a geyser today is highly illegal and will land you a massive federal fine. Now for the logistics. Yellowstone is beautiful, but it is wild, and you need to be prepared. First, wildlife safety. Do not approach the wildlife. I know the bison look like big fluffy cows, but they can run 35 miles per hour, and they will launch you into the air if you get too close. The park rule is to stay at least 25 yards away from bison and elk, and 100 yards away from bears and wolves. Buy bear spray, keep it on your belt, and know how to use it. Second, when to go. Summer is peak season, meaning everything is open, but the traffic can be brutal. If you can, aim for the shoulder seasons, late May or September. The crowds thin out, the wildlife is very active, and the crisp autumn air makes the steam from the hot springs look even more dramatic. Just be prepared for sudden road closures due to snow. Third, accommodation logistics. Book your stays 6 to 12 months in advance. The lodges and mid-range hotels inside the park fill up incredibly fast. If you can't stay inside the park, West Yellowstone is the most convenient gateway town, giving you immediate access to the geyser basins. Part 4. What to see, the ultimate itinerary. Let's talk about how you are going to spend your time here. Yellowstone is shaped like a giant figure 8, the Grand Loop Road. If you tried to drive the whole thing in one day, it would be too much. You want to break it up. Here are the absolute must-sees that need to be on your itinerary. Number 1. The Upper Geyser Basin and Old Faithful. You can't go to Yellowstone and not see Old Faithful. It erupts roughly every 90 minutes. But here is my top travel tip. Don't just watch it from the crowded boardwalk. Hike up the Observation Point Trail for a bird's eye view of the eruption. While you're there, don't skip the rest of the Upper Geyser Basin. It holds the highest concentration of geysers in the world. Walk the paved trails to Morning Glory Pool. The colors are absolutely unreal. Number 2, Grand Prismatic Spring. Located in the Midway Geyser Basin, this is the largest hot spring in the U.S. and the most photographed feature in the park. The bright orange, yellow, and green rings are created by thermophiles, heat-loving bacteria. Pro tip: the best way to see the colors is from above. Park at the Fairy Falls Trailhead and do the short hike up to the Grand Prismatic Overlook. It is the best view in the park. Number 3. The Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. Yes, Yellowstone has its own Grand Canyon. The Yellowstone River carved this 20-mile-long, 1,000-foot-deep canyon, leaving behind these incredible yellow and pink rock walls. Must do. Drive the north and south rims. Make sure you stop at Artistic Point for that iconic view of the lower falls. It's a 308-foot drop, which is actually twice as tall as Niagara Falls. Number 4, Lamar Valley. If you are coming to Yellowstone for the wildlife, you have to go to the Lamar Valley in the northeast corner of the park. This is where you go to see the big players, enormous herds of bison, elk, pronghorn, bears, and if you're lucky, wolves. Tip: you need to be here at dawn or dusk. That is when the animals are most active. Bring binoculars or a spotting scope. Pull over into the pullouts and just wait. Number 5, Yellowstone Lake. Finally, spend the afternoon down by Yellowstone Lake. It's the largest high-elevation lake in North America. The water is freezing, so no swimming, but the views are stunning. Instead of just passing through, stop by the Lake Yellowstone Hotel. It's a gorgeous, historic mid-range gym. Grab a drink in the sunroom, look out over the water, and enjoy a bit of quiet luxury away from the crowds. Yellowstone is one of those rare places on Earth that actually exceeds the hype. It's a place where the earth feels completely alive beneath your feet. Whether you are watching a wolf pack in the Lamar Valley or feeling the rumble of Old Faithful, it is an itinerary you will never forget. I hope this guide helps you plan your perfect Yellowstone adventure. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to World Tour with Dee, and let me know in the comments which part of Yellowstone are you most excited to see. Thank you for watching. As always, keep exploring, travel smart, and I will see you in the next video.